Very techno. Right. Okay. Wish us luck reversing for the first time and being harassed by my daughter. See you later.
Last week we bought a boat and spent our first night aboard her. This week we begin the journey back home to the Medway.
Yeah, we're going to go backwards. No, well, I don't know if there's enough room to kick the stern out and everything else, but I know it goes backwards. Right, so. Okay.
It's the last weekend in May, bank holiday weekend, and Tony and I had driven down with Hannah and Elizabeth, who were going to take the car back. The weekend has not gone entirely to plan because Hannah's mother had been taken to hospital with recurrence of her cancer problem, and the weather forecasts, which had looked half favourable earlier in the week, were now looking not so good. But Tony and I headed off all the same. The closer we could get to home, the easier the next step would be.
So it's the 28th of May and myself and our friend Tony are going to start sailing SeaHorse back to the Medway. It's a sort of close to 200-mile trip, possibly even more by the time we tacked our way up, although at the moment there's not much wind and there's an awful lot of mist. So we can't really do much. But the plan is to head towards Shorham, Brighton, Newhaven, Eastbourne, sort of tonight, get as far as we can get. Then from there tomorrow head towards Dover, and then from there to the Medway, although very much subject to the weather. At the moment the forecast isn't bad, but it's not very good. Basically we're leaving Lymington and heading towards Brighton, which is easterly, and we've got easterly winds. From there we go to Dover, which is easterly and a bit of north, and it's northeasterly winds. And then the next day when we leave Dover and head towards the Medway, which is kind of north then going west, we've got northwesterly to westerly winds. So pretty much exact opposite of what you really want. So we shall see how we get on. So we've been going for about an hour and a half now. We've got just the mainsail up because we can just about hold it. It's basically into wind. We're still with the engine on. It's still miserable and misty. It's a bit boring. Amazingly, for a not raining weekend on the Solent, when we're told the Solent's always so busy, it's empty. There's no one here. I think we're the only people stupid enough to be out in this cold weather. I've got my coat on now because it's chilly. Tony is reading the 150-page B&G chart plotter book so we can try and work out what all the lines are, and that is telling us. But otherwise, it's all pretty tedious. Cowes. Taken us 2 hours to get this far. Just dropped the main because we're basically yeah. Royal Yacht Squadron apparently. And a lot of rain and miserableness over there by the looks of it. Which hopefully we're skirting around the outside of.
We saw some amazing riverside property on the Isle of Wight. This place, for example, we thought for a minute might be Osborne House, Queen Victoria's old pad, but I don't think it was. We later saw it further round. No idea what this place was. It was very nice.
Somewhere over there is a hovercraft. Somewhere over there is the Spinnaker Tower, and we're just wondering if we're going to see Sir Ben Ainsley and his crew out screaming around the harbour on their foiling webs. Probably not, but you never know. We are at last sailing, although not very quickly. Can't see our wind speed, but it's single figures. But she's going alright. We'll sail for a bit and then we'll have to start the engine again, just so that we can kind of reach the entrance to the Solent before the tide starts flooding in too much. So it's 12 o'clock, we've been on the go for 5 hours and we've actually got a bit of wind and the sun's almost come out, and SeaHorse is sailing herself and doing a good job. So that's not so bad. We're just pretty much nearly at the Nab Tower, so we're kind of just coming out the Solent at the point where we have to turn left back into the wind and head up the coast.
I have to say, SeaHorse performed brilliantly. The sails were excellent, even though now looking back at these films it's apparent he did a terrible job of setting them. The altar helm was awesome, although ultimately I think we could have sailed it slightly better to windward. We couldn't do it hour after hour, but you push the button and SeaHorse just sailed herself there, as relaxing as this sort of sailing could ever be.
So it's all looking pretty idyllic at the moment, isn't it? Flattish water, bit of a breeze, sun's come out. Except it's only really now that it's looking like it, and it's actually been a bit of a slog. Fortunately, the boat's been great. Tony's done a sterling work out in the cockpit, and I've been throwing up. I don't do seasickness very well, and it just got bumpy enough to trip me over the edge, so I haven't been a great deal of help, but we're getting there. But this is a long way against the wind in our little boat, and the tide's now just starting to we're starting to lose the tide, so we're just wondering what our best option is.
So in the end, we decided our best option was Shorham. Not quite as far as we intended to go, but you could get access to it all states of the tide with a nice easy docking.
So we're in Shorham Marina. We didn't make it as far as Eastbourne or Brighton or all the ones we'd like to have got to, but Shorham let us in, so that's good. It took us a lot longer than we planned, but that's what happens when the wind's against you all the way, I guess. And the boat's not been scrubbed off since like October last year or something. It's probably fouled up, so we did all right. It wasn't that bad, and the boat was awesome. Everything worked well, sailed well. We kind of motor sailed for a lot of it just to try and make the tide, but as I just said, we didn't. So, but anyway, yes. Anyway, this is Shorham. It's kind of a working port marina. There's lots of fishing boats and that here, but there's also a lot of pleasure stuff. You have to lock in. Really nice guy, friendly bloke on the lock. talked us through what to do, let us in on their own early. They normally just, apparently you lock out every hour and then they lock in on the half hour, but he let us get in early or out of sequence just because there wasn't much going on, so it was good. Anyway, we've eaten dinner at I can't remember the name of the pub, but it's right near the marina. You go out the marina and turn right, and it was very good, quite reasonable. And now we're going to have tea and biscuits and settle in for the night on the boat, because it's not looking that good now for the rest of the week. The forecast is turning miserable. You could not, in this country, you basically get southwesterly winds in our part of the country, and you hardly ever get easterlies and northeasterlies, and we have just got northeasterlies getting stronger now for the next week, and the next leg's quite a long leg, and that's just basically a headwind the whole way. And if we've got to punch our way through bumpy seas, because it'll be wind against tide, strong winds on the nose, it just ain't going to be any fun, and we might not even make it in time, and there's not actually any sort of short hops on the way, and we don't want to spend nights at sea, so we'll see. But anyway, if nothing else, we'll go to Eastbourne tomorrow. It's only a little short hop, and gets us another step closer, so we'll see what tomorrow brings.